On October 31st, 2024, on Halloween, a demo for an upcoming fan game would drop. The fan game was called Freddy's Reanimated, and from everything that was revealed and seen, it looked incredibly promising, featuring a great atmosphere, unique gameplay and visuals, and fantastic animatronic designs and jump scares. With a successful demo launch, Shady Stork Games, the developers behind Freddy's Reanimated, got to work on the full release. And on March 13th, 2025, the full game would release. Did it stick the landing? Well, not exactly. So, this has been a video I have been thinking about making since the game launched a few months ago. I had said I would make a gaming video on it, then never spoke about the game again. And that is the thing, I did make a recording of me playing it, I just never made it into a video. Mostly due to the fact that I didn't really like the game, but I did think about publishing it for critique purposes. Then, I had a better idea, make it into this style instead. And here we are. So let's dive in. And if Shady Stork Games is watching this, then keep in mind, I'm gonna be brutally honest. If I come off as mean, then I apologize. That isn't what I'm trying to do. I'm gonna critique this game and give solutions that I think can benefit it. Alright, now let's dive in. I'll quickly give an overview of the game before we get deep into the problems it has. I'll read what the description is on GameJolt so you can get a better understanding of this game. It's been a decade since Freddy's closed its doors. Here you are, at that damned establishment. The halls are never empty here. On this cold night, you ask yourself, were the grisly rumors true? As a security guard, your job is pretty straightforward. Keep a close eye on those cameras, look out for suspicious activity, and don't let anything get into your office. Freddy's Reanimated is a reimagining of Five Nights at Freddy's by Scott Cawthon. It has a completely different and original story, different mechanics, a different map, different character designs, and a much more challenging experience. Alright, got that? Good, let's get into this game piece by piece. We're gonna start off with the story, which I actually believe is good. Look, if I'm gonna critique this game, I might as well look into the entire game, because this game isn't awful. There are good things about it, and story is one of them. Let's get into it. Okay, so the story of this game is interesting, to say the least. I'll go through the timeline of the story events in this game, and then we will piece it together. So when we start the game, we get this opening cutscene that tells us a few things. Freddy's is set to close in the summer of 2003, and now we are a security guard looking for work as usual. We get an email from someone named Ralph, and it goes like this. Hi, I'm Ralph from Freddy's Pizza Co. Right now, we're looking for a security guard to work the night shift at an abandoned location. It's an easy job. All it takes is watching cameras and making sure the building is secure. It's only a 5-day gig. We can get you in by next week. Hours are 12 AM to 6 AM. Email me back if you are interested. Ralph. Pretty standard FNAF stuff, but it gets more interesting down the line with the phone calls. I'm gonna use footage from IndieFeel. In fact, all of the footage shown will be from IndieFeel, so credit to him. Go check out his stuff. This is the night 1 phone call.
Hello? Hello, hello? Hey! If you're hearing this, then that means you made it. Welcome to Freddy's Pizza Party Palace. We've been closed for like over a decade now, so this place has seen some better days. Speaking of which, the only reason we have a security guard job right now is because the place is being demolished soon. So we don't want any funny business going on at night. That's why you're here. Anyways, that office should have everything you need for the night. There's a computer in there that lets you view the building's security cameras. If you look at camera 01, you'll see Freddy and the gang. Now, I know they may look a little creepy at night, but it's not like they're gonna walk off the stage and go to your office. Oh yeah, also there's blinds in your office. If you ever feel the need to, you can just pull the string down to close them. They're a little broken, I'm pretty sure, so they might not even stay closed. You might have to hold it down to keep them closed. There's also a flash button on your cameras that I forgot to mention, but I honestly have no idea what it does or what it's even for. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you tonight. It's a really easy job. In fact, we should probably be paying the mascots to watch over you. Anyways, don't fall asleep. I'll see you on the flip side. Good night.
This call is more of a tutorial for the game, but we do get some info. We are told that they are having guards because this place will be demolished soon and they don't want any funny business. Alright, seems pretty reasonable. We don't have the full idea yet, so let's see what Night 2's phone call has to offer.
Hello? Hello, hello? Hey, so, I got your emails from yesterday, and, look, I'm not saying I don't believe you that one of the mascots was moving, but I've never heard anything about that. And I don't even think that's possible. They should be bolted onto the stage as far as I'm aware. We had another security guard before you back in March, and I would have figured he'd mention this, but also maybe he just didn't see anything. I don't know. Haven't really heard anything from him since, actually. He just finished up his last shift and left. Did he even get his last paycheck at the end of the week? Oh yeah, and that creepy rabbit you were talking about? He has a name. It's Bonnie. Anyways, maybe the camera flash will actually help you out. If he can move, then who's to say the others can't? I don't know. Just trying to give you some advice. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I got some paperwork I gotta fill out by Friday. I'll see you later.
So it turns out that we sent an email to them after we saw Bonnie move last night, and Ralph's response is strange. He shuts down our claim by immediately saying, well, they are supposed to be bolted on the stage. But has he actually checked if they are, or is he just saying it? But more importantly, it appears there was another guard before us that disappeared after his week and never got his last paycheck. And Ralph, for some reason, just brushes this off completely? Like, he says he isn't sure, but surely you would investigate that, right? That's a FNAF game, the company doesn't care about lives. Forgot about that. Let's continue with Night 3's phone call. It only gets stranger from here.
You keep emailing me asking how they're moving, but I think you're looking at this the wrong way. It's not a matter of how, but why they want to reach your office. Do you think they want to hurt you? Talk to you? I mean, obviously they don't want to kill you since you made it to Wednesday. So maybe you should ask yourself, why? Oh yeah, so Chica was moving around yesterday too now, huh? I mean, if you notice any others active tonight, I have a feeling the flash will come in handy. They're probably not used to bright lights. If any of them try to get out of your sight, maybe flashing them will do the trick, who knows? I was gonna tell you a story tonight, but I think I'll have to save it for tomorrow instead. I gotta get going now. I'll talk to you later though. See ya.
Okay. So knowing Ralph works at Freddy's Pizza Co., surely he would know how they are moving, right? If you're getting emails from us that Bonnie and Chica are moving, then maybe they aren't bolted to the stage, you lying f***. Why wouldn't you check this yourself? I mean, considering you asked us this, it doesn't seem like you think they will hurt you. And he says in one of the post-night calls that he has remote access to the security system. So, why isn't he checking if our claims are valid? Ralph, you are such an asshole! However, his question of why they want to reach our office is an interesting one. Don't know why he said that though. Weird metaphor or something maybe. We're still not sure as to what that could be. So I think the best way to find out is to go to Night 4's phone call. And it definitely is the strangest one yet.
Why do you think they're alive? Let me tell you a story. Back in the 40s, some archaeologists discovered a cave filled with remnants of a human society. There are these handprints covering the walls. They belong to a human civilization long forgotten by time. We still don't even know who they were. The weird thing, though, is what happened after they discovered the cave. The ones who had unearthed this ancient discovery reported seeing handprints in their daily lives. I mean, they saw them appearing everywhere, all the time. They were haunted by these handprints. They weren't left alone. Some people think that it was that ancient human civilization coming back after being completely forgotten. What do you think that all means? I'm sure we both know, but I want to be certain that you understand what I'm trying to say. Well, I'm gonna head out now. Good luck for tonight. If you notice anything different, keep an eye on it. Maybe they don't like being watched. Who knows what could happen at this point.
Now this call is juicy. So for some reason Ralph is now referring to them as alive, but even weirder is the story he tells. Some people discovered a forgotten ancient civilization in the cave that reported seeing things that they saw in that cave almost like they were coming back. Maybe because they weren't forgotten anymore. He asked us what we think that means, and I think his point is pretty obvious. He's saying the same thing is happening to the animatronics. After being remembered, they have basically come back to life like the old days, when they were still alive and not forgotten. Why didn't he just tell us this instead of saying a cryptic metaphor? Who knows? Ralph is a strange man. So you might expect another phone call now, but we actually got a cutscene before the night starts. Let's check it out. So as the cutscene says, the animatronics are only moving because they were refusing to be forgotten, which goes along with what Ralph said in I4's phone call. They are angry at being forgotten. They haunt us and return to us as something else. They are angry and hostile, a complete 180 from how they were when the place opened. So, they are reanimated due to this anger. Oh, so that is why it is called that. Clever. Now we know the reason the animatronics act up. Let's see what Night 4's phone call has to entail.
Hello? Hello? Tonight's the night. Your last night, that is. Can't believe it's been a full week already. Anyways, do you finally know why they're alive? Does it make sense now? You know, it's really funny actually. When the place closed down, the kids didn't really know why. There was a rumor circulating that someone murdered children and stuffed them into the mascots, and that's why they closed. I mean, obviously that's not true. It doesn't even make any sense. It was just some campfire tale that kids told each other to scare their friends. I'm not afraid to admit that even I believed it for a bit when I was younger. People thought this place was haunted for a while because of that, and they weren't exactly wrong either. It's haunted by the past. Now, no one even remembers this place. No more rumors, no more urban legends. But they're still here. I think they're angry that the world moved on without them. I gotta go now. I'll talk to you later.
This basically builds up to what the cutscene told us, so I won't linger for too long. Due to a rumor of a murder happening in this place, the folks became scared of it and thought it was haunted, and that it was what probably led to the closage of this place. And now, even all these years later, the robots are still here and angry that the world moved on. No one remembers this place. It's haunted by the past, as Ralph says. Okay, interesting, but I mean, of course, all stories have an ending. So, let's wrap this up with the game's ending, because, well, that's how games work.
Hey, it's me. Could you leave the office and head to the dining room down the hall? I got something I want to show you. I finally figured out what the flash button does. It lights up the room so that you can take a screenshot of the camera you're looking at. I finally have more recent images for my blog.
Alright, fuck this Ralph guy. This guy used us as bait for all the robots just to get some screenshots for a blog? What about my life, you inconsiderate dick? Anyway, besides that, I think this is a great way to end the game. The place is finally remembered now, but it is time to say goodbye because demolition will still be happening, I think. I think that's what the game's trying to say. It is a quiet place now, and although it's not really explained, it does seem our character made it out alive, considering we got our check. Believe it or not, that isn't the only ending. This is an extended version of the ending you get after beating 510 mode, and shows a newspaper of remains found near an abandoned property, which I can only assume is Freddy's. But is this us? Did we die? It doesn't make any sense. According to some people, this is the person in the demo who did die, but in the full game we didn't, which I suppose is a cool way to make the demo canon, but it also raises the question as to why Ralph didn't mention it, leaving more evidence as to why he's a piece of shit. So, as a summary of the story, we play as a security guard at an abandoned pizzeria location, robots start moving and we tell Ralph he doesn't believe us and tells us a metaphor as to why they may be moving, and later it is revealed that they are angry due to the place being forgotten to time, and thus, they have reanimated into something unrecognizable. Ralph lures us to take a photo, which he posts on his blog, and it makes the place remembered again, so now the robots are at peace. At least, that's what I got from looking at it. I will say that I am a big fan of the approach with the animatronics. They aren't ghosts, they aren't dead kids, they aren't demons from Satan himself. They are angry robots that are refusing to be forgotten. It could also be that the ancient civilization possessed them, but that isn't really told to us if true. So, pretty good story, and the best part about this game in my eyes, the praise won't last for long. Because now we are going to tackle the big issues with the game. Story is not one of them. Let's dive into the gameplay, and by virtue, the mechanics as well, while we're at it. So now we're getting into one of my big issues with the game, and that is the gameplay and the mechanics. The gameplay of Freddy's Reanimated is pretty unique in its execution compared to other FNAF fan games, and while I can see potential in the idea, I think the way it's implemented is a bit too flawed for it to be fun. First of all, the mechanics. We have the flash button on our cameras and blinds behind us. Pretty simple, right? Well, only for the first few nights. The flash button is basically the entire gameplay. Every character except Bonnie and Foxy uses it, and it is extremely repetitive. Now, I don't think having most characters with the same mechanics is bad. For example, I really like how Treasure Island handles it, but once again, it really is down with the execution. Treasure Island has a pillar to make this idea work. While most of the characters use the same mechanic, which is where you turn a camera off to lure a toon away, there are some that use different mechanics to break the ice. Some will require you to stand still, and some will require you to turn off the lights. This creates a gameplay loop where you will have to manage the three mechanics in many different situations. If a stand still and camera character is in a room, then you'd have to do camera first, then stand still, or if a lights character and a camera character is in a room, you do camera, then lights, etc, etc. It works as a good icebreaker to the main gameplay, so despite the many shared mechanics, it still keeps that gameplay fresh. Treasure Island is an example of a good icebreaker, and FNAF 2, on the other hand, is an example of a bad icebreaker. The music box just makes the game harder and more annoying, which isn't what you want for a FNAF game. Now, Freddy's Reanimated is somewhere in the middle. Bonnie is a decent icebreaker on paper. He will appear at your window and you will have to close the blinds. The issue I have with this is quite simple. Bonnie doesn't have a sound cue when he enters. Now, this isn't a problem on the first 2 nights, but by night 5 the issue becomes extremely apparent. The lack of a sound cue makes it much harder to track Bonnie throughout the night with all the other multitasking you'll be doing. You can either watch him on the cameras until he enters the window, which will take time away from everyone else, or you can look back every time you switch cameras, which isn't really that fun. Now, there is another reason as to why this doesn't work, but let's tackle the sound cue problem first. To understand how important sound cues are to the gameplay, I'm going to use a certain game as an example to further show what I mean by this. Fazbear Entertainment Storage is my favorite fan game of all time currently, and one of those reasons is the gameplay. Specifically, the little things that make it so great. There is a sound cue for everything in this game. There is a sound for Toy Chica entering the vent, there is a sound for Spring Bonnie killing a camera, a sound for Puppet appearing on the camera, a sound for Fredbear being in a vent so you don't have to check the camera, and there is a sound for Mangle going into a vent so you know exactly where she is and where she is going. All of these are such small additions that add so much to the gameplay. It makes the multitasking more fun and fair because you know exactly where everything is. Oh, I hear Fredbear, let me put on my mask, and there's the puppet sound, let me just look at her real quick. Oh, I hear Mangle moving in a vent, let me just close that, and there's Toy Chica, so I'll just close that vent right there. Very fair and incredibly fun. And I think that Freddy's Reanimated could use something like that. By making Bonnie have a sound cue, it means the player can put more focus on everyone else, creating a much better gameplay loop that isn't just constantly looking back or trying to track him with all the other guys. But that isn't even the biggest issue I have with the gameplay. There is another reason why Bonnie doesn't work, and why the other characters aren't at their fullest potential. It's the camera system. Look, I'm all for unique camera systems. Hell, I love Graveyard Shift at Freddy's a lot, and that game is a hella unique camera system. But where I think this one fails is that there isn't a way to quickly go to certain characters. Chica will attack at 2 doorways and you will have to flash her. Sparky will bark and appear on any of the 9 cameras. Foxy will go through stages to attack, and if you watch him on the cameras, then he goes to stage 1. And Freddy, you'll need to flash to stop him from advancing to your office. And you have to manage all of that on this dinky ass computer that can't even render at 440p. I'm not saying that it isn't manageable. I'm saying that it's not fun. Sparky's mechanic especially is just not that fun. I get the idea, and this mechanic is also done in Fazbear Entertainment Storage with the puppet, but compared with everything else you have to deal with, it's just frustrating. Because he can appear on any of the 9 cameras, and it isn't obvious to see him on certain cameras at times. It can work really well in a different camera system, but in this one, it's just too much. I think a better way would have him appear on 2 or 3 cameras, and then you'd have to flash him. That would be my best advice. Now, Chica I don't really have a problem with. She works well for what she is and works really well with the camera system. Foxy's also fine. Could be better with a different camera system, but he's fine. And the same goes with Freddy, even if he gets really bad on higher AIs. I think on their own they work well, but all together it's just too much. At least for the camera system this game has. Look, I know I keep mentioning it, but I can't express how much it holds back the gameplay for being truly great. There's a lot of potential with what is here, what could probably be a really fun game. But as it stands, it's just not there yet. I think in summary, my best advice would be to tweak Sparky's mechanic to 2 cameras, give Bonnie a sound cue for when he enters the window, and maybe slightly tweak the camera system so it can accommodate better for all the threats. You don't even have to change it completely. I think with the right changes, it can work and still be unique. Alright, so that's the gameplay and mechanics. I guess we can move on to the other content, starting off with the most notable piece of extra content this game gives. And oh boy. So I haven't really mentioned this, but after every night there are these post-night segments, which is cool. I love me some extra content. But what isn't cool is that these segments are easily the worst part of the entire game. This right here not only brings the flow of the game down, but they aren't even all that scary either. They're either boring or incredibly frustrating. And they were one of the big factors in me not liking the game. Let's go over them one by one. So the first post-night segment, Ralph tells us to go upload some company files. We go into the storage room to upload company files, literally just drag these to the cloud upload and bam. Now repeat this 4 times. That's it. There's no threat, there's barely any tension. It is boring but also short, so I can somewhat forgive it. I could see it being a somewhat tutorial for the segments, but that's the thing. Every single one of them are different in a way, and they have actual threats. So, what is this a tutorial for exactly? Just telling us where the room is? I don't know. Let's just move on to the next one. Alright, in the second post-night segment, Ralph says the power has been acting up, and for some reason that is our fault and our job to fix. Don't you guys have a crew that can do this themselves? Like, a maintenance crew? Nah, whatever. Anyways, we head into the same room on the same computer. So, to restart the power, you have to move this slider to the correct position. There are about 5 positions that it could be in, and when it is in the correct position, then you're good. As the segment goes on, there are more sliders that you have to adjust, and there's also an actual threat this time. Bonnie will have a chance to advance when you aren't looking at him, and you can look at him to reset his progress. It is simple and fair enough, and there's actually a little bit of tension while you're doing this. Out of all of them, this is definitely the best one. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10, because it still is a bit boring and tedious. Also, Bonnie doesn't have any sound cues for some reason. Hopefully this doesn't become a problem later, right? Now we're at the third post-night segment, and Ralph tells us that he has access to the cameras, and they were acting up apparently. I hate Ralph so much. Anyways, we go back into the storage room and on the computer to fix it ourselves, because Ralph is lazy and doesn't feel like doing it himself. I'm the security guard, not your maintenance guy. Oh, and also, Sparky is guarding the exit door instead of killing us. They want to kill us judging by their jump scares, right? So why doesn't he kill us now? Why guard the exit? Anyways, this is a percentage mini game, so we have to hold down this bar so we can go up and then test that camera afterwards. Alright, seems simple enough. Oh, hello, Bonnie. Well, judging from last night, this should be pretty easy. Like, see? Like, dude! Oh. This is easily the worst out of all of them, and unfortunately, it won't get any better. For starters, Bonnie doesn't have any sound cues, so you don't know when he's moving or not. This is a problem because this fuck-ass bar needs to go up, and it's gonna go down if I'm not looking at Bonnie. Secondly, Bonnie is too aggressive. It seems that he gets more aggressive as the minigame goes on, I think. At least that's what I got from playing it. But even on the patched version, I still find myself getting bent the fuck over by Bonnie because I don't know if he's moving or not. So I continuously move back, and because I'm taking so long, I start rushing, and then he gets in my face, and I'm just tired of this goddamn minigame already. I can't look at Bonnie, because the bar is gonna go down. I can't focus on the bar, because Bonnie will kill me. And when I do get good progress, he gets in my face, and said progress gets undone. This can go on for minutes on minutes, sometimes even longer than the nights themselves. This is such an awful minigame, and it has still not been patched months after release when it clearly needs to be. I remember I made a comment on Game Jolt about this segment specifically about ways to fix it, so I'm gonna reiterate myself on that front. Here are some options. You can make Bonnie less aggressive so you can actually, make the bar go up. You can make him have actual stage instead of him skipping some, which is something he could do by the way. You can make the bar not go down when you aren't looking at him, or you can just give him sound cues, A game that did this style incredibly well is Fredbear and Friends Left to Rot. While the percentage does go down when you aren't focusing on it, the game gives sound cues to tell you when there is danger, so you know when to defend and know when to make your progress go up. It is something this game really could use. But the sad thing is, it still wouldn't really fix the minigame, because it's just a boring minigame. There isn't much tension and it goes on for way too long than it should. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you this, but you need to do this camera testing process 4 times! I think an easy fix would just to have the bar be the whole camera system, and then you can test each camera afterwards. Then the minigame would be on the shorter side, and it would be less frustrating. Or you can make tweaks to Bonnie to make him more forgiving. I don't know. But like I said, the minigame would still be a bit boring. Like, I don't want to hold the blue bar for 5 minutes, sorry. Now, there are other cool details about this segment that I'm just going to point out before we move on. Like, you can see Chica on the side as you leave, which is pretty cool. Although, for some reason, Sparky isn't guarding the door anymore. And why isn't Chica killing us? Whatever, let's just not worry about it and move on. And I hate to say it, but the next one isn't much better. Alright, final post-night segment. So according to Ralph, Maintenance said the vents are acting up. Wait a second. Maintenance said what? You guys have maintenance? Why the hell have I been doing this then? Wait. So you're telling me that I've had to upload company files, reboot the camera system and the power, and now I have to go into the vents to fix that? When you guys have a maintenance crew that can do this themselves? You do know I'm the security guard, right? I signed up to be the security guard, Ralph. Fuck you, Ralph. Anyway, we go into the storage room, but this time we go to the door to our right. Oh, and also Bonnie is there. So we're in the room and we have to turn these knobs. We can also look left and right into the vents. The first 3 knobs are given to us for free, and after the third one, Foxy becomes active and... oh boy. This minigame has the same problem as Bonnie's, in that Foxy is just way too aggressive. At the very least, the knobs don't unwind when we aren't looking at them, and Foxy actually has a sound cue. Something weird about this minigame that I've heard from people is that there's like a bug where Foxy can jump scare you even after you've pushed him away. I've heard some people say it's a bug, we need to wait for like his exit sound to finish before looking away, which is just really silly. I think I've heard that Bonnie's minigame has like that same issue. But also ignoring that, it just doesn't feel like there's a lot of atmosphere compared to the other 3. I didn't find them scary, but they at least had something there. This one feels, I don't know, a bit empty. I know silence can be very effective in horror, but in this case, I just don't feel much. And this game can do silence atmosphere well, and we will get to that, so I'm not quite sure what is off with this one, but it just doesn't have that horror vibe. This minigame isn't great, but it isn't as bad as the other ones, so I'll give it a pass. Still the second worst though. And yeah, that is the last of the post-night segments. They really just bring the game down if I'm being honest. They feel too long at points, are a bit plain and boring, and some of them are, well, horribly balanced. I could see them working better with a few updates. I'd probably tone down the difficulty of them and also make them shorter so they don't overstay their welcome. Specifically Bonnie's minigame as I explained before, but I think that Foxy's can also use a lot of changes. That would be my advice. Anyways, forget about the negative stuff because as I said in the beginning, this game isn't horrible. There are good things about it. Let's talk about some of the positives I have with this game besides the story. We've been negative for long enough anyway. Okay, time for some positive things. My voice might sound a bit off here because, well, I just screamed at the top of my lungs after a Mario Kart game. Anyways, I really dig the overall look of this game. It's something we haven't really mentioned, but I figured if we're going to be positive, let's mention it. It feels simplistic, and that's also the charm and the horror of it. It feels uncanny how simple it is. And don't even get me started on The Office. This office rules. It's right up there with a Graveyard Shift at Freddy's. It feels cramped, yet safe at the same time. It might just be my favorite FNAF office ever. And the designs of the animatronics also rule. Bonnie and Chica especially just look great. They just look so freaky, and yet it doesn't even look like they are supposed to be scary. I don't know how to describe it, but it just perfectly fits this game and its story. Also, the location is also well designed, the environments are well designed, the animations are especially fluid, and the jump scares. My god, the jump scares. I really like these jump scares. Rather than just appearing behind you and jump scaring you, they actually open the door, then kill you. Yeah, simple change, but you don't see that much effort being put into jump scares that much. Freddy's is definitely my favorite. Dude just walks in, no scream, chomps your head off, and boom, you're dead. It especially fits his character because he's described as the serious one, which is kind of funny to me. Like, the other animatronics are goofing around and Freddy is the only one that's locked the fuck in. Is that funny? No? Alright then. Another thing I want to cover is the atmosphere. While the post-night segments may have a really weak atmosphere, the main nights are a different story. The clock ticking in the background, the camera switching sounds, the flashing camera refreshing sounds, Sparky sound cues, sounds in general, it all builds this really unique vibe that just feels really uncomfortable for some reason. I think it's because of how silent everything feels. The building feels quiet, if not for the flashes of sounds coming from your computer. And it just feels too quiet, like something is gonna jump out at you at any moment. There is always that looming tension and it keeps you on edge for the entire night. Both the visuals and atmosphere have this level of restraint that I have to respect. It doesn't try going all out on the spookiness, and yet it is way more spooky than most FNAF fan games. Of course, not as scary as a FNAF 4 or a Graveyard Shift at Freddy's, but hey, deserves some props. I'm also going to give credit to the overall look of the game. It has that 2000s era to it, and I think it's best shown in the opening cutscene and ending. The messages, the posts, the emails, I really dig all of it, and it adds to the atmosphere that this game is trying to build off of. There are other things that I liked as well that I want to throw in here. I think the music in this game is really good. The extras menu music and ending music are some big highlights. Some of the Easter eggs that I've seen are also pretty cool, like this Balloon Boy one. Pretty neat so. And I think the sound design especially is great. The blinds especially just sound really nice. And the flash button is a banger. I listen to it in the gym. No cap. Those are a few of the big positives I have with the game, but it doesn't end there though. There is one more positive that I have, and it's the final piece of this game that we haven't talked about yet. So let's talk about that, what it entails, and wrap this all up. Okay, the final positive I have about this game is the extras menu. Dude, I fucking love the way this is formatted. It just keeps up that vibe of the 2000s that I talked about last section. And I think the way that every section of the extras is in different files, it's like, oh my god, it's so cool. Plus, the description they give the characters being in line with the game's lore is also pretty cute. Especially the fact that on Bonnie's page it says forums instead of something more modern like comments or Twitter or whatever. Shady Stork Games are clearly dedicated to this theme and I am loving it. And we also learn that Foxy sparked rumors that he bit a kid's head off, which I believe is their interpretation of the Bite of 87. They knew that if you're gonna have a reimagined FNAF story, that you gotta keep the Bite of 87. It's basically synonymous with FNAF at this point. There's also jump scares, which are, well, jump scares. I mean, we've already talked about them. Every FNAF fan game needs these in an extras menu. But more interestingly, they have a behind the scenes section showing some cool shots of the game being worked on. They even show early concepts of the game, such as an early office, an old Sparky, old parts of the location, etc. I always enjoy when fan games and really just games in general have this, because the work that went into actually making a game is always something that I'm interested in seeing and learning about. I have watched so many videos on the making of Celeste, and dude, I'm still going. These videos are just so awesome to watch. Like, the work that goes into creating a game is like something that I'll never know. I don't know how to code. But like, looking at the behind the scenes footage and like seeing how they made like Outer Wilds or like Teardown or like fuck Mario Kart, like it's so cool. Uh-oh. Back on script. But out of all of these, my favorite is Contrary Evidence, which I believe is how you say it. They are these photos that kind of function as police evidence files, and dude, they are so creepy. I didn't even need to say anything for most of these, like the paranormal evidence one, this with the handprints is just freaky as fuck, and like, it just kind of speaks for itself. I've never seen anything like this in any other fan game, and surprisingly, it adds a lot to this game. It fleshes out what we know into visuals, and frankly, I don't think I wanted to know what this photo would have looked like because seriously, this is going to be my nightmares. It's such a creepy image. I feel like it's something that someone could turn into a creepypasta. Wonder how that would turn out. Overall, I really like the extras. They're pretty neat. And I think that was all of them. Well, we can wrap up the video. Oh, right. The custom night. Okay, so we've been positive for a while, but that was the last of them, unfortunately. The custom night is, well, it's something, that's for sure. All of the things that were issues in the main nights are just even more amplified here. The custom night doesn't even have any preset challenges, you kind of just do whatever. So, they have this high score system instead. The higher the animatronic, or the more animatronics you add, the more your high score will advance. And they have a reason for you to do this. There are these characters locked behind a high score cap, similar to what Radiance does in their custom nights, where they will lock certain characters behind challenges. And that would be cool, but it quickly shows a bigger problem with this game. The RNG can get really bad on these high AIs. Speaking of AIs, they are capped at 10 for some reason. I think it's a stylistic choice, but it could be that 20 is impossible, so the cap was lowered. If that is the case, then I don't know why AI increase is a thing. I'm pretty sure it doubles the AI because of the way the score changes. But is it even possible to beat 510 mode with this on? And if it's not possible, then why is it even here? Was this playtested? I haven't seen anyone do it so far. Whatever. Anyways, I'm going to talk about the characters and unlocks. So we have Bon Bon. You have to click him when he shows up on the cameras and he goes away. We have Sienna. You have to click their nose when they show up or something happens. I don't know. And this fucking Hawk. This guy right here is a pain in the cheeks. He will have a random chance to appear on a camera, and if he does, you have to look away. And if you switch cameras, you're just dead. This is a horrible character to add in a game where the cameras are as important as they are, and it only adds more RNG to the game for no reason. Case in point, 810 mode, also known as the max mode, which is so bad and so RNG that I've only found a few select videos of people beating it. It's not even like it's a top 10 max mode, it's just that this mode sucks to play, and this godforsaken Hawk is the entire reason for it. Oh, and you can also change the night length to as much as 12 minutes? Now the real question is, who is insane enough to beat 810 mode with AI increase for 12 minutes? Is it even possible? Who knows? I think someone will eventually tackle it, it's just a matter of when, but may God have mercy on their soul. All of this is really a shame because I really do like custom nights in FNAF games, especially doing the hard challenges in them. But when they all come down to RNG, then all that fun is kind of just sucked out, isn't it? Now, this is an issue that I'm not quite sure you would go about fixing because you might have to completely recode the AI to fix it, which sounds awful, I guess. Reducing the RNG, I guess, it might work? I'm not quite sure how you do that, but that would be my best advice. Anyways, that is the last of the game. We've talked about every singular inch of it, so let's wrap up this whole video, shall we? If I have to give my overall thoughts to this game, then I'll say that it has a lot of potential, and some really good things about it. But it is just way too flawed for me to call it good. Shady Stork Games are really talented developers, I think that's very clear, and I'm not trying to shame their work with this video or anything that I said. I'm just saying my critique and thoughts on this game because I care, and I want this studio to make really good games in the future. Because they have insane potential for any game really, not even just FNAF fan games, and they showed a lot of that in sections of this one that we've gone over. It was this close to greatness, but I think it misses the mark on a lot of areas that are really important. The gameplay, while having potential, has a lot of things holding it back, mainly the camera system, even if it is cool stylistically. The post-night segments are either boring or frustrating, and drag down the flow of the game at certain points. And Custom Night is currently really fucking unbalanced in terms of certain characters, like Freddy or the Hawk, that stops it from being truly fun. There are really good things about this game. The story is great, the atmosphere and visuals are fantastic, and the extras menu in 2000's look is really unique for a FNAF fan game. But overall, I don't think it's a good game for the reasons we've discussed. I would personally give it a 4 out of 10, but I'll bump it up to a 5 out of 10 since at the end of the day, it is a free game, so it deserves extra points. Now, I'm not saying that no one can enjoy this game. If you like this game, then more power to you. I can see the appeal. But from my perspective, I think there are some glaring flaws that I don't want happening with any future games that Shady Stork Games might make. And by the way, if you guys are watching this, which if you are, that would be an honor, even if you're watching this far in the video, I don't want you to take this video too hard. I want you to take it as my advice in the future. You guys have something special, and I'll be looking forward to whatever projects you make in the future. Well, that's gonna be all for me. Thank you for listening, even if you still are. Well, that was a doozy. If you enjoyed this, then thank you. This was my first time making a video like this, and I hope to make more like them in the future. As a matter of fact, I'm currently working on another video essay script, and that one's turning out pretty good so far. So yeah, there will be more like these in the future. Scratch what I said. And this is also the first time that I really sat down and wrote a script for a video. It said script is like 6,000 words long, and then count that with the week it took to edit this video, and then the week before that it took to prepare it. But I had a lot of fun making it. Credit to all of these guys that I'm currently showing on screen for the footage that I use in the video. Go check their stuff out. And also, go support Shady Stork Games. Hell, play the game for yourself if you want to. Go support them. The game's cool. For other people at least, not for me. Because at the end of the day, my criticism is my criticism, so you might have different thoughts on the game. Okay, well, I won't trap you here for much longer. Thanks for watching the video. Goodbye.